Hi, Chris Whelan here from the Center of Business Excellence, Building Better Businesses. Day 15 of our 20-day journey through how to grow your business in a financial pinch. Bear in mind, of course, it's not just in a financial pinch, it's in any time. These are a series of 20 videos, a series of 20 articles, really scratching the surface a little bit, but alerting you to the different things, different arrows you want to have in your quiver to make sure that you can use them when you need them. If they're not for you, that's fine. They won't all be for everyone, but share them with other people as well. Make sure that our business community is stronger by having the arsenal that we need to grow our businesses. So today I want to talk to you about something which is often overlooked. I think we might do it implicitly, but we miss it we miss doing it deliberately, and that is having a scenario planning approach to business. Right? I happen to be a qualified futurist, and so part of my background is in that area of scenario planning, in building different scenarios for people. And if we do that, and as I say, sometimes we do it implicitly, what if things go well or what if they go badly? I'm talking about going way beyond that. Make sure that you're using scenarios all the time because it strengthens your business. It strengthens your business muscle. If you can imagine what's going to happen, you can adapt your business to it. In fact, many people say that any new idea or any new success starts by first imagining it, then it happens twice, once in your head and then once in reality. So let's talk about scenarios today. I think the first thing is, as the name implies, scenarios actually came out of movies. If you believe that, they came out of how to draw scripts up for movies, and it's about what's plausible, what's possible, what's probable, and those three P's: plausible, possible, probable. But you want to have multiple future scenarios, right? What could happen, what might not happen, and why might it happen? Then you can evaluate that. You want to also focus, very, very importantly, you focus on leading indicators. If you start seeing stuff, you think, that could be scenario 1 happening, or scenario 2, or scenario 3. So you want to have lead indicators, because what you do today and what you see today is going to affect tomorrow. And you want to monitor those metrics very carefully. Excuse me. What you also absolutely want to do in any scenario, it's no good having a scenario if you haven't got any contingency plans for it. So having those contingency plans becomes very important. 5 things that I think I would suggest you focus on. Number 1 is to develop a set of potential future scenarios. Always have, the technical term I think is scenario 0, right? The do nothing scenario, because there has to be an option to do nothing. There has to be an option to stay where you are. It's no good having a whole bunch of scenarios and you have to change every single time. So scenario 1 or scenario 0, if you like, do nothing. And use data to build those scenarios out. Don't just, you can. I think sometimes it's useful to just imagine what the future might look like, but use data. So perhaps a recent example, if someone had thought about this at the time, what would happen if there was a global pandemic, right? Now, hopefully someone did think about that, but if you look at the responses, it doesn't look like it. But now we know that pandemics happen. Now we know that there are risks. So what would happen if there was another lockdown, right? Scenario 1, do nothing. Consequence of that would be A, B, and C. Scenario 2, pivot, etc. Scenario 3, go online. And all the stuff that we now know, looking back, is hindsight is 20/20. It's a blinding flash of the obvious. But have multiple scenarios to find those potential different scenarios. That's number 1. Number 2, I've already kind of hinted at it. Develop contingency plans. For scenario 1, we will do this, this, and this if that happens. If we go into lockdown, again, let's hope we don't. But if that were to happen again, we'll go online. We'll meet like this. If you're running a restaurant business and you ran out of supplies, you couldn't get meat or you couldn't get whatever supplies you had, what will you do in that situation? We've got a client at the moment, they're running a refrigeration business. What happens for their clients, what happens if the client's fridge breaks? You need to have a response to that, right? We'll have so-and-so on call. We'll be there within 25 minutes or half an hour. We'll fix it. We've got these stock in our vans. So that's a response to a power outage or to a broken fridge. What do you do if there's a power outage? That's a separate response. And so you have a range of scenarios which allow you to mitigate risk and put contingency plans in place. The point I made about monitoring lead indicators. Now, I'm not sure how many of you do this on a regular basis, but if you know what I call the 5 ways of building a business, so how many leads you've got, your conversion rate, how many times people buy from you, how much they spend each time, and then your margin. Those 5 things are what I call what Action Coach calls the 5 ways of building a business. At some level, they're also the canary in the mine shaft because they act as a early warning system. If you see, right? That your leads are going down, for example. No, hang on, leads are going down. What's changed? You might have a bunch of scenarios saying, hey, I'll give you a real life example. Last year, one of my clients, just before the election, probably August, September last year, the election in New Zealand, saw the leads were coming down, but we had scenarios in place for that, right? If that happens, if there's uncertainty around the election, which there always is, we weren't surprised by the leads coming down. So we could adjust. Our contingency was to adjust our marketing. By the end of October, early November, leads were back up to where they needed to be, right? So those lead indicators were very important. Those 5 ways that I've just referred to, very, very important, and monitoring them on an ongoing basis. The point about the canary in the mine shaft is that back in the day, they didn't have oxygen down the mine, so they put a canary down. If the canary was battling to breathe, they realized the oxygen is running out, they get out, right? So if you want to know more about that, and particularly how to use those 5 ways, I would love to have a conversation with you. But essential when you're doing scenarios to have lead indicators. The other point is that you want to align your strategic goals with your scenarios, right? So your strategic plan needs to be flexible. I particularly work with a visual tool. It's called a horizon model, or some people call it a sun ray diagram. And we've got a range of different things we need to work on. And in each of those things, the end goal is our strategic goal for our business, right? Whatever that might be. It might be to have a business that totally works without you, with making huge amounts of profit, running under management. Let's just say that was your goal. Or you might have a particular financial goal, which is $5 million within the next 10 years or something. That's your strategic goal. And then each of your scenarios needs to align to that. If this happens, we'll adjust here. If that happens, we'll adjust there, to keep the alignment with that strategic goal. I hope that makes sense. If you want to know more about that, again, very happy to share it with you. And in fact, to send you a template of how to do that, because it's a powerful visual tool. And it's also very useful to use with your teams, because it gets them aligned. Well, this is what we're doing. And they then know exactly how to respond as well. Point number 5. And you would have seen this in all of the videos I've done, all of the articles I've written. Make sure you're regularly reviewing your scenarios. I would say at least quarterly, but certainly if at a long-term strategic level, at least annually. But quarterly is the way to go, I think. And the closer you can do it, even if you did it on a monthly might be a little bit tight, but quarterly is good. Why do I say that? Because there's 4 quarters in a year, it's a nice natural rhythm. You can say what worked this last quarter, what didn't work, what do we need to adjust? Are those scenarios still valid? Have external conditions changed to such a degree that we need to adjust our scenarios? Now, if you're doing that regularly, you're going to stay ahead of the game. If you're an events company, and this is a live example, an events company that tracks and adjusts, tracks and its bookings, right? Because events companies need to build long-term plans, at least a year, 12, 18, 36 months out sometimes. If they know that things are going to change, and they can do that in, let's say, Sky Stadium in Wellington, if they know that things are going to change, there isn't going to be an All Blacks game, that's going to affect things. Or if the tour is going to be different, it's going to affect things. So monitoring that on a regular basis becomes important. Again, this is something that I'm scratching the surface here. I want you to think about it very carefully. Definitely encourage you to do it. If you have any questions, get hold of me. You can grab some time in my diary. I would love to have a chat with you. Thanks so much. Have a fantastic day. All the best. Bye-bye.